Hello, everyone, and welcome to the long overdue, highly anticipated first episode of HQTA Podcast. That is, hard questions, tougher answers. First, let me introduce myself. I am Ethan, and I'm joined by my co-hosts here, Sean.
Hello, everybody.
And Eric.
Hi, guys. So here at HQTA, to give you guys a little bit of an idea, a little taste of what we do, we discuss the questions that everybody wants to know the answer to, but nobody's willing to ask.
That's right.
I guess there's no better way to explain the purpose of our podcast rather than to just get into it.
Yeah, let's just jump right in.
So, Sean, why don't you start us off with our very first question of our very first episode?
All right, so this is, I feel, an important question because it's a question based on how you want people to perceive you in society. My question for you two gents is, would you rather, for the next year, be a morbidly obese, shut-in bed creature, or have to become a registered sex offender?
Oh, okay. So the obvious thing I would like to point out is that one is a something that is out there for society to see.
Correct.
Regardless, you can't hide from it.
Yes.
The other, you can hide all day long, but if you come out, you're immediately shunned and looked down upon.
Yeah, that's the rub. So it's one, you're almost disgusting to yourself, and the other, you're disgusting to everybody else.
Right.
Well, at least with the morbidly obese, disgusting bed creature.
Yes. I just wanted to paint a vivid image of what you're going to be.
That's just 1 year. You just have to go through 1 year.
Okay.
Now, once the year is up, do you have to go through the painstaking process of having to shed all that off? Or
yeah, once the year starts, you're going to balloon up to around 600 pounds really quick. And then once the year, and then you can't lose any weight, you can't do any exercise or anything.
So you keep adding weight.
Yes, basically. I mean,
but you don't die.
You get to a limit, but no, you don't die. You just become more big, and become more isolated.
Like a critical mass where your gravity kind of like collapses in on itself. And
Exactly.
Black
Yeah.
hole.
So you have your own gravitational force.
Hole.
Yeah. So, but then once the year ends, that's when you can start losing weight.
Okay.
What if I don't then?
What?
What if I don't want to?
Then you can stay that way for the rest of your life if that's how you want to.
Okay, so this isn't just the flip of a switch. You have to work the weight off.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
That changes
That
things.
does change
I thought
things
this
a little
was
bit.
one of those physics-defying cases.
No, this one you have to work for it just because there's going to be implications to the registered sex offender. That's not going to just go away.
No.
So, yeah, that was my follow-up question is, do you have to work to get the registered sex offender thing to
Exactly.
fall off?
Do you actually have to be an offender of a sexual crime, or
No, so you're just accused and you have to register as a sex offender. So you don't do any jail time. You just have to that's like a plea deal that you do.
Right. So
whether you did it or not doesn't matter.
So my next question is, because I have gone on to a sex offender website, I have a son that I am concerned about.
Right.
And I want to ensure that there are no lowlifes in the surrounding areas.
that he's diddled.
Yes. No, I want to avoid that.
Yes.
Whatever.
Avoid diddling.
Whatever the diddle
avoid.
means. Yes.
Yes, avoid the diddling.
Right. So, is there? I going back to my initial point is I've gone on these websites and I've seen that you can click on a person's name and it will tell you why they are a registered sex offender. So, are we just amping this right up to a 5-star registered sex offender?
I'm a 5-star
Yes,
sex
I mean,
offender.
the worst possible thing.
You did.
Or like I was on school property and I peed in the grass.
You allegedly, well, as far as the court is, you diddled a young person. We'll say that. So during this year, people can look up and see what you did.
Oh, so it's also a 1 year thing. Do you go off the list
After
immediately
the year? The proof comes out. All charges are dropped against you
on the dot of the year. So,
as far as the court is concerned. However,
so one is a year, and the other one's a year and change to get you back to.
Well, but here's the thing: as a registered sex offender, you have to alert who you're working for. You have to go around the entire neighborhood and explain, do the whole spiel, the whole speech they have to do. society, people that you regularly talk to, your church, any sports groups or anything really that you're part of, they're going to know this. So after that year, you can say, oh no, charges were dropped. But how fast are people's perception of you going to change? That's not going to stop on the dime.
So here's the other thing to consider, and that's an excellent point, by the way. But first of all, for our listeners, let's define diddling.
It's fiddling.
Fiddle.
It's kind of that, but with a naughtier nature to it.
So diddling is to fiddling, and fiddling is to fondling.
Sure.
There you go. That's a good
Yes,
one.
there we go.
Fondle.
Diddle is anything, I guess, that's not legal, and then once it becomes legal, it becomes fiddling or fondling. Maybe there's an in-between stage.
So diddling is dirty fiddling.
Yes, we'll go with that. That's perfect.
Diddling.
Perfect, yeah.
All right. So the point I wanted to highlight was that there has been this transition in our society where fatness, as you put it, morbid obesity, is actually becoming kind of in to a degree.
I've never heard this.
You've never heard of so there's this huge movement against fat shaming. So if you're fat,
Rock the curves.
to a degree.
I was about to say, I don't think there's any, hey, I like you as a friend and everything. I don't think, I think 600 pounds and then you adding on during the year is the point of no return.
Right.
I think you're going to be fat shamed wherever you go. Well, you're bedridden, so that takes.
Well, you ramp up to that.
And the other thing is that more like 600 pounds without knowing a person's height to calculate their BMI, 600 pounds is probably like a super morbid obesity. Whereas a morbid obesity is actually not unusual to see walking around Walmart or something.
Yeah.
Super morbid obesity, like a BMI over 50, is pretty extreme.
Where they sweat mayonnaise.
Right. So,
Would you want the? It's like you're almost getting different kind of looks wherever you go. Before, like I said, I mean you're like a bed creature, but I guess once in a while you can kind of waddle your way out of your
I'm
apartment.
not waddling anywhere. I'm going on one of those like things you get at the grocery store.
Oh, the
or whatever.
scooter,
Yeah,
industrial sized.
that's what I'm using.
So you're gonna get looks there. People are gonna make fun of you, but then the same thing's gonna happen if you are a sex offender. You're gonna get dirty looks, and people are gonna want to keep their distance.
I think you'd
from you.
be hated more as a sex offender than just as a fat person.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
I think they feel more. I think they feel
degree.
sorry more than they would hate you.
Right, but eventually you will be basically just an isolated person.
And the thing that's holding me up on just jumping in and saying I'd rather be the bed creature is it's going to be a ton of work to lose 600 pounds.
Yes, and just think of the boredom that, I mean, you can't really go out, you can't do anything fun. You're basically stuck inside, you watch
But
TV
do you have
and
the
eat.
same mentality as one of these people? They don't give a shit. They're waiting for their next meal. That's all they care about.
I assume our mentality would be our own.
Yes, so this is
So
you.
I
So
am-
just say tomorrow, whichever you pick, something's going to happen. Either you're going to start gaining weight exponentially, or some person is going to accuse you and you're going to be forced to register as a sex offender. So you're still you, but you're not some other person. So you have your own, whatever mentality you have now.
But as you go on and on, I mean, I'm sure these people were at a regular size at some point in their
That's
lives,
true.
and then they got to how they are.
So if you think you're going to get to that stage where 6 months in, have a big indention in your triple mattress and you're basically just made at home there, and you think this is okay, I can live with this.
Yeah.
I'll just bring on the McDonald's
Exactly.
for another 6 months. I mean, that's your choice. Or you can be a sex offender, and it almost, to me, I almost think that you could live a somewhat more normal life as a sex offender. No, I mean, just look. If you're a huge person who can't get out of bed without a crane, you're not going to be able to play sports. You're not going to be able to go to a movie theater. You can't do anything. If you're a sex offender, you still have the ability to blend in.
Yeah, you'll
I mean,
blend
not
into
every
a
single
degree.
person is going to know who you are. You can still go to a restaurant and have fun.
Right.
But then you're also going to be on some websites.
And Yeah, but websites, the majority of people are going to see your name and then instantaneously forget it because they don't have a face to match it with.
True. So it's going to be the people in your immediate vicinity. So all your neighbors are going to know where you work. You're going to have to inform them.
Right.
And whatever comes of that.
The other thing is that with the super morbid, obese bed creature, some people, they sit on the couch for so long. I mean, at 600 pounds, you're not going to be mobile enough to get up and go to the bathroom most of the time.
That's true.
So no, you're going to have somebody that enables you and then takes care of you. You're going to have somebody that wipes your ass, somebody that bathes you.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to fit in your bathtub or anything like that.
Right, exactly.
You're going to be disgusting. And you're going to be like that for a year.
And the other thing is, I mean, I've heard stories of people that were so large that, and people who didn't get off the couch for such a long period of time that their body infused with the fabric of the couch. And had to be surgically removed.
And you'd have like those nasty open sores where your folds just rub up against each other.
Well, that's where the care partner comes in. They got to sprinkle that baby powder up in your folds.
Yeah, but you're going to be at the mercy of those people.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to arrange these people to come and cater to you.
Sign me up for the bed creature.
Yeah, I was going to... I don't think...
Bed creature it is. I would eventually lose that weight. It might take me 10 years, and then I would be back to a normal life.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't be able to... For a sex offender, like you said, I mean...
You could move.
Your character, you could move.
That was my go-to, but that's going to be a painful year.
Yeah. Yeah, and then people... You can't gain that character back.
Okay.
Character shaming.
So you'd rather
be fat shamed than character shamed.
So you'd rather basically just lose a year of your life to just laying in bed eating the Brian Wilson effect.
Pretty much what I do right now.
Is there any health implications after the year?
Yes, whatever health implications are from
your
being
years
600 pounds for a year. But then, so there's that where you might be knocking 5 years off your life. But as a sex offender, you're also risking health of some vigilantes finding your name on a website and deciding to come kick your ass.
That's true.
But that's illegal.
True, but that's, you know, you can tell that to them while they're stomping your face in.
This is illegal. Stop it.
So Eric, you'd be willing to you'd stop exercising, stop eating right.
Oh, whether I'm exercising or not is irrelevant. I'm gaining weight and I can't help it.
Right.
Just
but it's going to be all fat. So you'd be willing to just look yourself in the mirror that's probably up in the ceiling because you can't stand upright anymore.
Hey, I'm
and
married.
Just see your disgusting self.
I'm married.
But for how long? Which you think your significant others would stay with you if you blossomed up? Exactly. And you can't explain to her like, oh no, it's for a question. It just happens to you.
She loves me for who I am.
As she rubs the baby powder into your folds.
For the third time that day. As she's shoveling KFC into your mouth. You probably wouldn't be able to hold your son or anymore because if you shift the wrong way, you'd be like an avalanche that crushes him.
A fold shifts the wrong way, just engulfs him. It's like, where did he go?
All right, screw it. Make me a sex offender.
Nice.
I'm still going fat.
Okay. My goal is just to change your original answer. So I'm 1 for 2. So I mean, it's the question of, would you rather disgust yourself and just live in isolation, lose a year plus of your life, or have society, everyone close to you, think you're a disgusting weirdo? So it seems like final answer is you guys split on that.
Yeah,
Eric?
Split decision.
You're gonna come in with the what would you choose there to kind of rock it one way or the other?
Oh heavens, no! I don't like to answer my own questions. I haven't even thought about answering this. I just like to play devil's advocate with you guys. We'll let the listeners decide. So you guys chime in. What do you think? Would you rather spend the next year gaining weight until you were quadruple the size you are now and basically just living in a bed? Or would you rather have to register as a sex offender and live through all the consequences of that? So let us know. You can email us, give us your feedback at hqtapodcast@gmail.com, or hit us up, follow us on our Instagram or Twitter. Both user handles HQTA Podcast.
All right, so that was Sean's question. Thank you for that
You're very welcome.
low scenario there. Let's go to Eric with his question.
So my question of the night is, would you rather live without the ability to experience pleasure or live a happy life and then die from having your face sanded off with 60 grit sandpaper?
So that went from 0 to 60 real quick. So I guess first is, what's the definition of pleasure?
So
Physical or all kinds?
all kinds of pleasure. So basically, would
A
you
robot.
The question, the core, the very essence of this question is: would you rather die emotionally over the period of your entire life, or live a regular life and then die horrifically in a probably like 20-minute time period?
Is this something that happens now, or are we assuming this is through our entire life that we were without pleasure? Or is it just like all of a sudden it stops?
At 26, 27 years old, it stops.
Okay, so we knew pleasure before, but then
Yes.
with a flick of a switch,
Correct.
nothing makes us happy anymore. We're just completely dead and neutral inside.
Yes, an extreme version of what's called anhedonia. So
Okay.
no pleasure.
Now, we don't feel pleasure, but do we feel other things like pain, sorrow, hungry?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean...
So basically we're just surviving
Right. So you can't...
as a biological being, but
You can't enjoy, like, an orgasm. You can't enjoy food. You can't enjoy a massage.
music,
Music brings you no
good
pleasure.
movie,
Nothing.
Jesus. Or
Or would you like your face ground off?
now you said, so repeat the second half of this question, because
So you live a happy life, a regular life, and then die from having your face sanded off with 60 grit sandpaper.
okay, so this went from 0 to 60 grit.
Yes.
Yes,
so,
it was 60 grit.
so you're basically living a normal life that's pretty happy for the most part, a regular middle class individual. You know, you don't have a ton of like financial problems. You basically live your life normally. And then right as you reach that peak ripe elderly age, your face is sanded off by hand.
Good Lord.
Not-
now,
not
are you
even, like,
doing this or someone else?
Somebody else.
Okay, good.
But the process takes, like 10, 20 minutes.
So, and we die of this.
Yes. So
I'm
it's
guessing from
sanded into the skull
Jesus.
while you're
Is this by hand or is it by some
by
kind?
hand. Yes.
Okay, God.
This is yes. And they have to
I assume we're
replace
screaming the entire time.
Yeah. Right. They have to replace the sandpaper
Oh,
occasionally.
God. I'm guessing we're... All right, so my question is, if nothing makes you happy, there's nothing you can do that brings you pleasure of any sort, what's the point of living? Do you even have the will to go on living?
Well,
I
I mean,
don't think you would.
Or do you risk being like, I'm going to be happy possibly for decades, and then at some point I'm walking down the street, someone tackles me, restrains me, and slowly sands my face off with 60 grit sandpaper.
Pulls out sandpaper out of their back pocket and just goes to town. But you're not expecting that. So
Are you aware this is going to happen, or is it going to be complete surprise? Are you completely oblivious?
I was asking myself that same question, and I wasn't really sure. I mean, not to the extent that it causes you a tremendous amount of anxiety for the remaining 40 or 50 years of your life. However, yeah, we'll just say you have to make this decision now, but you're able to like forget about it and live a normal life for the next 40 or 50 years.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden it just comes out of nowhere.
from the trees, he jumps down.
Yeah, you see somebody walking towards you with sandpaper, and then like you
Have a flashback.
remember back to 4 decades before, like, oh my God, he was telling the truth. Not the face.
Never walk into a hardware store
I was
again.
gonna- yeah. Be avoiding Home Depot like the plague. All right, so basically, this boils down to: would you rather live a happy life knowing it's going to end horribly?
But you don't know. You're able to forget about it.
Yeah,
when the
you're
day
able
comes.
to. Yeah.
To a degree.
I mean, it might come back to you every now and then, but you're still able to live your life through the years.
Exactly.
Or be willing to
Die.
live potentially 50, 60 years of nearly meaningless life. But at the same time, you can be productive. You can be helpful to others. I mean, you'd be like a psychopath towards yourself. You have no empathy onto yourself and no happiness.
But could you really help somebody when you can't take pleasure from it?
Exactly.
Why not?
You can help people,
I mean,
but
you'll be
it's
like,
going to be pointless for you.
Just because you don't take pleasure doesn't mean you don't know what's between good and bad. You can still, like, I know this will help other people.
But could you hold yourself to the degree, like, hey, I'm going to help this someone for the greater good, when you could give two shits?
Well, I mean, look, I've given donations to, like, natural disasters and stuff when they happen, and I'll send, $20 their way. I don't feel warm and fuzzy inside. It's just, I do it because it's, a civic duty almost. I have expendable money. People need it, so I give it to them. I don't pat myself on the back or go around smiling and whistling for the rest of the day. So,
I'm not saying that one should take joy in helping others. I'm saying your mentality in wanting to help someone. Like, you wouldn't be able to, while you're helping someone, you got like this, resting bitch face on your face, and you're just going through the motions. There's no...
All right, let me ask you a question. Do you hold the door open for people?
Yes.
Does it make you feel good about yourself?
No.
Okay, so what's from you doing other similar acts to help other people?
That's different than, like, volunteering your services. I'm just holding a door for
But someone. At the same time, if nothing brings you pleasure, I mean, you'd be like, okay, I could go volunteer, or I could play video games, or hang with my friends, but none of those things give you pleasure. So if you're still thinking logically, you'd be like, if nothing makes me happy, I might as well try to make other people happy.
But the bottom line is, that's not going to do anything for you.
Right. I'm just trying to play the other side
I
where
understand.
It's not like you're a complete waste. Yes, you can swallow a bullet if you want. Or you can be like, okay, this is my affliction. You're not all of a sudden a emotionless robot. You still can think and be like, I can still make a difference. I'm not going to feel good about it, but I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm going to be indifferent to it.
I mean, if you think of somebody just kind of living in a very mild depression, and if you've ever felt that way for even a brief period of time, you don't feel like volunteering your time or doing any charity work for anybody.
So we're saying that you're basically living in a state of depression.
I mean, sort of. A mild depression.
I mean, that's how it would end up, because there's no pleasure.
I think it was just neutral.
That was just an analogy. But without pleasure, once you've experienced pleasure and you have it removed,
that makes this question a whole lot easier for me. So it's basically, would you rather live 50 years, a normal happy life, and then 10 minutes of shit?
Die a horrible death.
Or 50 years of crippling depression in which
it's not crippling depression.
Well, then what?
It's mild. I mean, it's just like
I'm sorry, mild depression.
When you're
the kind that you could just get over. Walk it off.
Well, it's just like when you're at home.
Try smiling.
Bored. You're just bored. You have nothing to do. You just feel empty inside. You're not sad. You're just empty.
Okay. I still don't see how that would stop you from thinking logically, or. The way you guys are saying is like there's nothing you would do to help other people.
Perhaps I'm self-absorbed.
But at the same time, I mean, you could still help yourself. You could still make money.
Since when do you think from a societal perspective, Sean? Who are you?
I think for myself, but if I can't make myself happy, I'm either going to make other people happy, or I'm going to give a train a hug.
I mean, there's no to address your other point. There's no purpose to make money because neither earning money, amassing money, or spending money brings you any sort of pleasure. So
okay, so you're basically within a few months you're going to fall apart and be a homeless wreck if you don't want to work.
Well, I mean, if
you don't want to help anybody, you're in a mild depression. I give anybody about a couple months before they kill themselves.
That's ultimately where it would probably end up if you can't experience. Now, if you were born with the condition and you can never experience pleasure, then you don't know the difference. Yeah. But if you went from a pleasurable life to experiencing nothing,
but bad stuff,
I think that would. Yeah, because you're not going to have the good feelings to counter the bad ones. Everybody has bad feelings. So if the only feelings you could have are bad ones, then it's just you will ultimately end up killing yourself.
Yeah, and really getting your face sanded off might be better than, living through 2 years of cancer or slowly dying of, your liver shutting down or countless of other medical things. So, yes, it's going to be bad, but people die badly all the time. They get in car accidents, they get stabbed, they get shot. I'd rather still live 40, 50 years than, I've been trying to debate, but so far none of you guys have said one positive thing at all about the other option. So to me, this is the easiest question.
About okay.
What's one positive thing about the other option?
Living a life of no pleasure?
Because I've been trying to give a couple, but they keep on getting countered.
My point of this question from a very big picture perspective is I think that the antagonistic perspective to Sean's point of view is what's most common in America at a certain degree. Maybe not, I can't experience any pleasure, but I think most people live their life at a very neutral or low state.
Okay.
So, most people
So you're saying most people are living?
Most people are okay with that. Yeah, and they're just okay with living. It's in our nature to just want to survive.
Saying, but most people have a job and they still contribute. The way you were saying is that you would have no motivation to work or get money or do anything for anybody.
You can still attack it from a logical
Well, that's what I was
point
trying to
of view.
say. Like, your logic, you can still be productive, but you guys were kind of ganging up on me like there's no reason you would do that. And in which case, there's nothing logically, if you're just a waste of human resources.
Put you down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in society today that are a waste of human resources.
That's true. Namely 2/3 of this room.
That being said, I think Sean has made a pretty strong stance.
Yeah,
he would prefer to live.
I was trying to fight for the other option a little bit. I was trying to see the silver lining, but apparently there's absolutely no silver lining there.
I just want to point out that is a hell of a way to go, Sean.
Well, so is burning in a fire or dying of cancer.
I can't speak to any of those things, but
or getting shot or stabbed.
Sandpaper.
Yes, that's gonna be awful.
Your skull, your.
At one point, do you die though? Because I have a feeling that you'll die before he reaches your skull and sanding you down.
Perhaps you would eventually go into shock.
Yeah.
But I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. Ultimately, what kills you permanently is breaking the barrier between breaking down your skull and sanding down your brain.
He's got to get to that gray matter. How many licks does it take? How many swipes does it take to get the middle of this human Tootsie Roll?
All right, so what is it, Ethan?
This in my brain, there's no question in choosing the life of pleasure and then suffering at the very end.
Get that sandpaper.
Wow.
Make it 80 grit. Right. I don't give a shit. I'd
crank it up to the highest grade possible. Yeah. Bring it on.
I'll take the 40, 50 years of a happy life over a inevitable suicide or whatever the other option is.
All right. So be it. So if you guys want to weigh in on this topic, I don't think Sean and Ethan captured the full perspective on these two different opposing viewpoints.
But captured plenty.
If you feel like you want to weigh in on this subject, then please, by all means, feel free to send us an email at hqtapodcast@gmail.com.
All right, Eric, thanks for that question. And to wrap up this episode, let's throw it over to Ethan. Bring us home, Ethan. What do you got for us?
All right, so here we go. It's a little on the disgusting side. Deals with bodily functions. So, would you rather every time you burp, you throw up for the rest of your life, or every time you fart, you have diarrhea for the rest of your life?
So, okay. Ew. So you burp, is like you throw up into your mouth type thing?
No, it's coming out.
Okay, so it's a straight up projectile vomiting?
Yeah.
And every time you fart, it's not only a shart, it's a full on
it's
diarrhea fest.
Huh. So.
Ugh. Every time.
For the rest of your life.
Good God.
So both of these bodily functions are able to be controlled. I think I would much rather hold in a burp or a belch than hold in a fart.
You get those gas pains, though. You hold that stuff in long enough, either way, you're going to get those gas pains, and those aren't pleasant either.
The usual, are you aware of your condition?
Oh, you're quite aware.
Okay. So it's not spontaneous every time it happens. Okay, so you know what happens every time you burp or
yes.
fart. Okay.
Yes.
It's not a, oh shit, I just shat.
Yeah. What have I done? Okay, so...
If that were the case, I would be soiling my pants
right.
multiple times per hour.
So, again, I think the average person probably both burps and farts a few times a day at least. Some more than others.
Perhaps. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I mean, I guess it depends on your diet. What you're eating.
Your diet. Absolutely.
But it's going to happen.
Right.
So I guess you have to boil down to whether you would rather vomit profusely or crap your pants with the brown liquid.
And to Eric's point where, yes, you can control to hold it in, but sometimes you're not thinking, and they just slip out, and that's when they'll get you.
But imagine this would be something that you would become accustomed to holding it in pretty quickly. Either way, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I would say it's easier for a fart to slip out than a belch.
Yeah, you might be caught up in something, and like you bend down to lift something and a fart comes out. Well, some extra's going to come out, run down your leg.
Here's the deal. Yes, you can hold both these in, but it's going to happen. So I'm not attacking this on whether I think I can fart or whether I can hold my farts or my burps in for my entire life. I'm assuming it's going to happen. So I'm trying to mitigate the damage of what do I think I could live with.
Well, and ultimately, both of these things are going to have temporary consequences. I mean, vomiting, you could vomit on somebody, you could vomit on a desk, you could vomit on your work, and then even if you vomit into the toilet, you're going to have to deal with that taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
So, and the other one's pretty clear. I mean, you could destroy countless pairs of pants.
We haven't done it already. The clear evidence of what you've done.
So what exactly is the difference between this scenario and real life?
It happening every single time. Yeah, yes, it happens to us every now and then. I'm sure we've all shit ourselves and we've all thrown up in a place that we didn't want to do those things.
I think it's almost easier to continue on, like in the act, whatever you're doing at a time. It's easier to act normal if you're shitting yourself rather than vomiting all over the place.
That's true.
So say you're picking something up. If you burp, you're going to vomit all over everything. If you let out a toot, you're going to spray your pants. It's going to be dribbling down your legs, but you're still holding whatever you're holding. You can still be like, uh-oh, and kind of do a backward shuffle or anything. I think there's less immediate physical evidence of the shart over than the burp vomit.
But that stank would linger, and people would notice, oh, it stinks all of a sudden, like horrific aroma, and
but at
McPherson just ran out the room.
Yeah, but at the same time, vomiting smells disgusting, and it just has the effect of making it activates other people's gag reflexes and makes them want to vomit as well.
So you could be
triggering these chain reactions.
I'm thinking diarrhea and that stench will also trigger some nice gag reflexes.
It could, yes.
Well, the other thing is that you will elicit a certain degree of sympathy by vomiting. People will be like, oh my gosh, he's horrifically ill. He has something wrong with him. Poor guy. If you shit yourself, people are like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I think it depends on, if you're at work and all of a sudden you're just like, ugh, blah, I don't think the first reaction is, oh, poor boy.
Well, I think it's reaction, but
I think it'd be like, what the fuck?
Over time,
I think reaction is going to be pretty equal whether you spontaneously vomit or crap yourself.
I disagree. I mean, diarrhea is
all right. What would all right?
Slightly more disgusting than vomiting. They're both pretty nasty, but coming out of your anus versus coming out of your mouth, just something about that diarrhea just seems way worse to me.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna say you can rock an adult diaper. Okay, unless you're carrying around a bucket, just like like a little trough or something strapped to your neck where you can throw up into, you're going to cause a lot more messes everywhere throwing up than crapping your pants.
No more trips to the pool for Sean. So let's talk, just for clarity's sake, let's talk volume of either. Is this like a cup of vomit, a cup of diarrhea?
No, I mean,
You don't have to give me
had
the
those
MLs.
moments. It's, I think
it's like a normal throw up and a normal diarrhea.
I mean, you're spending probably 10 minutes on the toilet like a normal diarrhea, so you got the initial burst, and then you got the
dribble effects.
Yeah, the waves after. the throw up, you have the initial wave, and then you have the dry heaves.
Yeah, so it's very unpleasant either way. I just think that I could get away with shitting myself more often than I could just vomiting all over the place. Especially like if you're at work or you're sitting down, I would rather crap my pants than continuously vomit all over my computer, keyboard, and desk.
I mean, you could control that, though.
I mean, yeah, if you could, you would have a split second.
No. I'm not talking about, we can't, because that'll be boiling down to, would you rather hold your burps or farts in for the rest of your life? And that's boring. This is going to happen. You can't be thinking, like, I'm not going to do this, and that's just the end of it.
But
no, that's not what I was even
suggesting. Could you do the burp, like, you could, like, okay, I'm going to burp, this is going to happen. Could you find a trash can real quick? Or could you turn and, throw up on the other side of your desk so you're not all over your keyboard and your computer?
Okay, first of all, talking to your goddamn mic. Second of all, why can't you just do that when you feel a fart coming on? Run to the bathroom.
Because there's a lot more time required to reach a bathroom than to simply turn one's head or
and
find
I think
a waste
people will still know what's going on because you kind of, you do that walk.
And they're not going to know when you're face down into a trash can dry heaving for 10 minutes.
This is the thing. People, and this is what I was trying to communicate earlier, people occasionally in society, adults, have to run out of the room to throw up. But it is very unusual for an adult to be unable to retain his own fecal matter.
So you're saying you would feel less sorry for a person who has a condition?
It's not about feeling sorry for them. It's about societal acceptance.
Okay, so if you had so let's say it was one of us, you would feel less, we'd be less acceptable as a society member if we went out of the room, whether we're throwing up or shitting. No, we're running out of the room regardless.
Let's be honest. If it was just us, you'd be the butt of the jokes. There'd be no, like, I feel sorry.
Well, yeah, that's
be made fun of.
We have shard our pants any given night anyways. But I'm saying in the workplace or something, I don't think people are going to be like, oh, he's just throwing up. That's okay.
Well, I think the bottom line is it just comes down to what's more socially acceptable. And I think whether it's turning your head and having to vomit or vomiting on your desk or running out of the room to do either, the vomiting is more normal than the diarrhea.
Yeah, I think that in everyday life, we're more prone to see that than someone shitting themselves. Like, I was at a concert last Thursday.
Yeah.
And, well, maybe, it was one Thursday. It was recent.
Get on with it.
And somebody just walked over and threw up onto the floor and just carried on with themselves and kept on, partying and going crazy.
So you'd be okay with that being you every day?
Not necessarily
this
every day.
This is my question.
True. You deflecting bastard. I mean, as I don't know who brought it up, but throwing up is not pleasant. So, you're going to have the dry heaves, and then you're going to have...
Neither is shitting
Well,
yourself.
I know. Let me finish my point. You're going to have that, disgusting taste in your mouth. You're going to need to rinse that out. If you ate any food, you just vomited all that up. So, you got that going for you. I mean, I think people probably have diarrhea more than they vomit, so they're more used to that. So I think you can...
But I hate the feeling every time that I have... Like, yes, diarrhea is more common than me throwing up, but gosh, I hate my life when that's happening.
So
Throwing up is more quick. I'm like,
I'm assuming this is like a bad throw up. It's not like a bleh. I'm good.
I mean, if this was something I was able to quarantine to the privacy of my own home, I would much rather have diarrhea.
Right.
Because a significant amount of relief comes from releasing a large quantity of diarrhea into the toilet, flushing it away without any residual effects.
Exactly. And
But that's not what we're saying.
As you were saying, you don't like the feeling of diarrhea, but a lot of that is like beforehand and afterwards. You just feel like crap. Literally, for a long period of time because you're sick. There's something wrong with your stomach. Yeah. Where here, I assume it's you have to fart, you sit down, you get that burst, and then you're done with. You're not going to have the link
plus the waves.
Plus the waves, of course. But then there's no going to be lingering effects. I assume afterwards, it's not like you have food poisoning. It's just you zip up. Same thing with like the throw up. I assume you're not going to be having this continual thing. It's like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
So, diarrhea really gets a bad rap. I kind of enjoy diarrhea. I mean, it's much better than being constipated.
And plus, you can sit there and it's bad, but you can browse Reddit. You can go through Twitter, Facebook. You can use your phone. You can read a book.
That is true.
You can't do that when you're
if you're throwing up, you're face down in that bowl, you're gripping it. You got those. I mean, nothing's worse than dry heaves. So come on, guys.
I think this is mostly a pride issue about not wanting Sean to sway me.
Yeah.
No, not wanting Sean to sway me into his perspective, his point of view.
But would you say I swayed you a little bit?
A little bit, absolutely. But I think you missed my point, because my point is that this is not something that's able to be quarantined to the privacy of our own home.
Right.
Right.
So you would still rather randomly throw up on things than shit your pants.
Yes.
Which I think normally if you shit your pants...
Marginally.
Yes, but no. I think a lot of times if you burp, as Ethan was saying earlier, it's absentmindedly. You're just like, especially if you know this is coming. If you feel a burp coming, you're either going to suppress it or you're not going to think about it and it's going to come. So in that case, whatever you're facing or doing, it's just going to spew out. And I think in that case, the vomit is going to make a lot more mess than you shitting in your pants, which is going to be confined to dribbling down your pant legs. And I think you'll have time to reach down there and pinch the bottom of your pant legs and then kind of do like a crab walk into the bathroom where you can stand over a drain and then release. Or you can just wear an adult diaper and you like shit, you're like, oh God. And yeah, it's going to stink, but you can walk out.
I mean, if you're going to have enough foresight to wear an adult diaper, then I'm going to have enough foresight to be able to withhold my burps.
No. Because I'm not going to be able to, I know I'm going to shit myself. I don't know when, but as a precaution, I'm going to wear an adult diaper. Now, the opposite would be if you had like a bag that was continuously tied to your face. Would you do that?
No, but the point is, no, absolutely not. Good point. But the point is, I am going to, over a period of time, become used to withholding those belches, which is what I said at the very beginning.
Yeah, but then the question boils down to...
Just like I'm so used to releasing my farts without giving it a second thought. I will also, after developing this condition, I'll be able to learn to withhold my belches after a brief period.
Yeah, but that's no fun, because that boils down to basically you hold in your burps, I hold in my farts, and nothing ever happens.
Well, you're wearing a diaper and nothing ever happens.
Well, if I learn to control it, I'm not going to wear a diaper. And I'll take the occasional
Okay,
I'm under the assumption in this question that it just happens from time to time.
Yeah. Well, whenever you...
Right. So I know if it's going to happen probably at least several times a month, I'll probably still wear a diaper.
Look at it this way. Would you... Let's say on a daily basis, we'll do even playing field, a dozen of each every day.
Right.
Would you rather shit yourself 12 times a day, or would you rather throw up 12 times a day? That's kind of what it comes down to.
I think I'd rather shit myself because I don't think I'd get any nutrition if I'm throwing up almost hourly.
But also, are you going to have enough clothes for this?
No, and that's that.
I would. Oh, if that's the point where we're either shitting or burping ourselves 12 times a day, I think that we would be doing something that allowed us we'd be working from home, probably in a room that's lined with newspaper and plastic tarp, and we would just kind of lay in the middle, flop around as we.
So, if you're going to attack this from a medical perspective, then I mean, probably either way, vomiting or diarrhea is going to dehydrate you and prevent you from getting nutrition.
Right. Okay. I would rather shit 12 times a day than have to vomit 12 times a day.
I would absolutely love to shit 12 times a day over vomiting 12 times a day. But that's not the question.
That was Ethan's question just now.
That was Ethan's follow-up question. So yes, with your follow-up question, I would love to shit 12 times a day. Diarrhea. Like I said earlier, I kind of like diarrhea.
Though, randomly, you're not going to change your clothes 12 times a day unless you're going to wear your adult diapers, and then it's going to be costly that every day you're going to pretty much walk into the store. I'm like, all right, I need my package of diapers.
Okay, but you don't think you're going to get vomit all over yourself?
No. If we're talking projectile, we're just like...
come on. It is not shooting completely clear of you.
All right.
I would like to see you just stand up. Next time you get drunk, I'm just going to have you stand up and vomit, and we'll see how clean your shirt and pants are afterwards.
We have explored the very boundaries of this question.
I don't think anyone has ever talked about the science of shitting themselves in depth as we have. We're making history in this episode.
All right.
That being said,
let's go final verdicts here. Would you rather throw up every time you burp for the rest of your life, or have diarrhea every time you fart for the rest of your life?
I'm sticking with the original scenario that we discussed and going with the belching and vomiting combo.
You know what? I've been going on about this shit because I think you guys immediately dismissed it, and I thought that was unfair, and I wanted to represent the people who shit their pants. On the other time, I think we can all agree that farts are funny as hell, and our lives would be somewhat more emptier if we couldn't do that without drenching ourselves in nasty ass water. So, even though I've been campaigning for the fart chart, I'm going to go with burp vomit just because I think I burp less, so I would vomit less, and I'd rather have the ability to poot because it still brings a laugh every now and then. Haha. Teehee. So yeah, I'm switching it up. I'd rather burp and throw up randomly than fart and pooping yourself. But I don't think it's like a whole lot worse than like you guys were saying.
That's what I was saying.
I think it's marginally equal, but yeah, I'll go with you guys, what you're all thinking, and I'll go with the burp vomit.
All right. Well, there it is. Just to put my little taste in there, I'm going with the clean sweep. I will also choose the burp vomit.
It's a three-way.
All right, guys. Send us your feedback on that question. I know that one got a little heated with us.
That was very heated. That was one of our more debated questions that we've had, but that was a good one. That was a good question, Ethan.
So send us your feedback or questions that you may have that you want us to answer at HQTApodcast@gmail.com, or you could also catch us on our Twitter or Instagram, same tagline, HQTA Podcast. That does it for this first episode. Hopefully we'll catch your ears another time, but until then, we are signing off.
See you guys.
Goodbye.